My name is Yusef Miller. I'm the Executive Director of Activist San Diego, and I want to welcome you to another community meeting here that we have. We always have thrilling and engaging subjects, and today is no different. And I'm sure you'll leave here learning a lot, engaging a lot, and making a lot of new friends. Some of us are in person at the Joyce Beer Center. Some of us are online, but we're all family here. And we are an organization that is not only one that meets and talk about issues that impact San Diego County, but we're also a radio station, KNSJ, which is the people's radio station, where we have people come on and speak about issues that impact the wider community. So please check into us about us there. And we're also looking for people who want to join us. We have board slots that are open, people that could come in and be a part of this whole organization that's doing great things. And you could contribute from your aspect of what's going on in the community. And before we go any farther, I would like to start off with a land acknowledgement. We are standing on the the heritage and the traditional lands of the Kumeyaay in San Diego and the Payakumweechum in the North County. Payakumweechum, if you don't know, is the name of the people they normally call Luiseños, but Luiseño is not their names. It was given to them. And this is their heritage and their indigenous lands that we need to respect and support them in their endeavors to keep this land safe, clean, and healthy, and keep the bigotry and the hatred that comes to this land through all types of ignorance out of our sphere, out of our zone. This is a safe zone for everyone, and we acknowledge and appreciate our Kumeyaay and Luiseño brothers and sisters whose land we stand on. And that is coming from a stolen man on a stolen land. And I will turn it back to Frances. And while Frances is getting all the details and a lot of the technological pieces put together at Joyce Beers, we have food coming, so people there can enjoy the breaking of the fast with the Muslims who are fasting during Ramadan. I myself am Muslim, and to the Muslim observers, Assalamu alaikum and Ramadan Mubarak. This is a day of fasting, a month of fasting where we don't eat or drink during the daylight hours. So Activist San Diego, being connected to us culturally, has made sure that we would have some food to eat and be able to break our fast. And I will be joining you soon. As soon as the microphone is taken over from myself, I will get in my car and start heading that way, and I will be there before too long.
All right. Good. Can you guys hear me on screen now? Oh, yeah. Okay.
I can hear you.
Okay, great. So now just a few very quick announcements, Activist San Diego announcements. And I'm going to be putting these in the chat with links for next month. Our monthly community summit will fall on Monday, April 15th. And we'll be focused on it. It's right around Earth Day. I think it might be actual Earth Day, right? We will focus on an environmental topic. And Activist San Diego has just become an official member of the Green New Deal Network, so we'll probably talk about that as well. Speaking of green things, the Power San Diego ballot measure, we have 49 days left to get another 75,000 signatures. So we have a really big lift. We're going to reach the goal of 80,000 ballot signatures to get it on the ballot to replace SDG&E with a nonprofit utility. So what we are asking everyone to do is to carry a packet with them. Each packet has 27 spots. You can bring it around to your friends, family, coworkers. You can meet in coffee shops. It's a great way to meet friends. Tonight, folks who are here in person can sign out a packet with me. I can give you a quick training on the things you need to know. Anyone online can go to wearepowersandiego.com and you can sign up to one of the get involved and see events where you can go sign and where you can go volunteer to pick up packets or join us this weekend. We did 3 days straight at the St. Patrick's Day events and probably almost 1,000 signatures just with the team of volunteers we had out. So, and we even got a lot of people saying they would take packets and volunteer. So we can do it. We can do it, but it's going to take everyone showing up. So please do. And lastly, in April, April 16th to the 21st, myself and one of our awesome new super volunteers named Sam Green and our and Will Johnson, who's reparking his car right now, who the three of us will be a delegation going to Atlanta to represent Activist San Diego at the Grassroots Global Justice Alliance Member Assembly. We will be uniting with the 60 other organizations, frontline groups across the country. Will be convening to start building the foundation of our Invest in Care, Divest in Harm campaign, which is seeking to pull together the demilitarization topic with the environmental aspect, and really where we want that money going into is the healing and the wellness of our communities. So I am putting all those links in the chat for those on Zoom, and those people in person, please do make sure you signed in and put your email, and yeah. Then now it is my absolute sincere honor and pleasure to introduce one of my heroes or mentors slash friends. I get to call her my friend. Oh, Martin, you're here. I was going to have Martin introduce her, but he wasn't here, so I started to introduce Martin. Do you have any words to introduce? Do you want to introduce Jodie Evans? She's on screen. Oh. Yeah, so. Okay.
Right quick, I'm about to head down, so I'm going to log off of Zoom, and I'm coming there in person. So I'll see you guys soon.
One of the most amazing women's organizations here in the United States, Code Pink, that seems to know how to work with the media, against the media, and to break the information blockade. And such an honor to have you here. I don't see you. Okay, Jodie, well, thank you.
Well, it's an honor to be with all of you peacemakers. I'm very excited to be zooming into San Diego, and Frances, you're a rock star for peace. So happy to show up when you ask. You know, it's Code Pink is almost 22 years old. And we started when Bush was frightening the American people with the color-coded alerts, orange, red, and yellow. You know, be afraid today, it's red. And frightening the American people right after 9/11 into a war on innocent people in Iraq. And we called Code Pink for peace. And we've been doing the same thing for the last 21 years, which is exposing the lies, disrupting Congress, making power uncomfortable. We live in a violent, monstrous empire that MLK called the greatest terrorist organization on the planet. It continues to reveal itself that way. And we just disrupt power as much as possible. It's a system, it's taking us off a cliff. And we always think it's like, how do we scratch out at it? How do we slow it down? How do we put pebbles in its boots so it can't walk any further? You know, whatever that is. And however you do it, it's important. The one thing you can't do is be silent. Be engaged, show up, do anything. And, you know, it's like be inside of Congress, be outside of your member's office, be organizing, be creating community. All of the war machine, we call it, because at Code Pink, we say you can't end war till you end the war economy. War just works for the war economy. So, you know, it's not engaging in that, taking your life away from the war economy and living the peace economy, the caring economy, the container of love that is what keeps life going. And we're, you know, really looking at this, I would say, end stage of this violent empire. It's slashing around with its pointed deadly claws at anything it can. And that is very real, and it's very horrible, and it's horrific to witness, and it's horrific to bear. I can't imagine being a Palestinian, but I also, let's not forget that there's starving Iranians and Cubans and Venezuelans and disrupting Haiti and Congo. And, this isn't one place, it's across the globe that this violence is happening and has been happening in our name with our tax dollars. The blood is on the hands of those in power that continue this bloody, violent move forward that is the US empire. So, right now, the curtains have been opened, the veils are gone. It is being exposed for all that it is. I think it's very crucial that it is the Palestinians, the settler colonial project that happened when all the other colonial projects were supposed to be ending and this one was being created. It's on a packet of lies and lies and lies that have been told, and a whole web that has been built of lies that people stand on, that it's crumbling. And in that way, it exposes the United States in ways other places haven't been able to. Because in reality, the Iraq War, the war on Afghanistan, what we call the war on terror in the United States, it's taken almost 6 million lives and cost US taxpayers $20 trillion. So Palestine is a microcosm into this macrocosm that is the United States. And yes, we have to throw everything we have at it, because sometimes when you can see it smaller, more intimate, and more immediately, it is a much more engaging to hearts. Besides that, they're the beautiful Palestinians, that peace economy itself that has battled to stay a peace economy, even with the violence that's been layered on it for these last 75 years. So I want to tell you a little bit about what we've been doing in Congress, because it's what we've done for the last 21 years. We've been in the halls of Congress. We used to have a house in DC where we would take 33 members of the community into Congress every day and disrupt the violence that was the war on terror. But right now, I have to say, and I've been in those halls for over 50 years, it's never been as bad. The incapacity to have a conversation, the insanity, the stupidity, the violence, the racism, the hate that our members of Congress is really brutal. I mean, if anybody has a minute that they want to send a little heart to Medea or Ann Wright or Motaz or Jamie or Julia or any of these folks that have just given up their lives and are in the halls of Congress every day, and some are Palestinians, some are doctors, some are students, that really have just said there is nothing else to do but to get in the way of this violence. And I think you can go to Code Pink on Instagram or Twitter or Facebook, TikTok, and just see the violence that we expose every day. To be a nonviolent direct activist is to expose the violence. Gandhi showed us that. Martin Luther King showed us that. What you do is, by coming at it as a person of peace, not engaging in the violence, you expose the violence. And it's pretty bad. And I would say the Palestinians have been nonviolence in itself. They have been practicing that for a very long time. And so I think that's part of what, this is exposing, is that they have been patient and open and willing until they're not. And it exposes what was behind there. So that they've been living with every day. That violence they have been living with, either personally or as a shadow over their lives every day. And, in 2009, Code Pink took 7 trips, almost like 800 people to Gaza. And then, which is so long ago, like 15 years ago, it was already devastating and very hard for the people that we took to even bear witness to. So in all the ways that we have been bearing witness, been telling the truth, and people have remained silent, it is now the time not to be silent, to be engaged, to be building community. You all are awesome that you build this community and come together, feed each other, nourish those that are honoring the Ramadan fast. That is what it is to be human. That is what peace looks like. So you are doing it, you are being it, and I'm just super grateful. If anybody wants to come to, spend a few days in Congress, you're always welcome. And it's a really good way because, one of the reasons why why our capacity to be more engaged with Palestine is it's to be very relational. It's very in our face. We can see it. It's not an abstract notion. And I can say when you go and spend a couple of days in Congress, you will no longer want to be engaged in anything that has to do with US democracy because it is a farce, it is a fraud, and it is a lie on the planet. And I would say the other thing is people around the world see it a lot easier than people who live in the empire. A taxi driver reminded me that, don't you watch Star Wars? Don't you know that empires are stupid? And I think we forget that those of us who live in an empire are made stupid by living in an empire. And, it's really important to listen to people outside of the empire, because just being in the milieu of the hubris and the arrogance and the racism and the violence and the colonial mentality and the empire mentality, it does affect us. But the rest of the world is seeing that this isn't this beautiful, shining city on the hill, that the United States is really a violent monster. And I would say that outside the United States, people are way more aware and articulate about it than most people in the US. Not you here, but I know you run up against it all the time. Like, how can anybody be for a genocide? Like, trying to understand that one, how can anybody not be by my side watching children being starved to death? What the frickin' crazy notion can you have that that's okay? What's wrong with you? So that's what happens when you live in an empire and your brain's been turned to mush and you have no heart. But I'm here. I love you. I'm so grateful for all you do. Go San Diego. And happy to answer any questions that anyone might have.
Yeah, we'll open it. And if anyone has questions here in the room, please come up to this microphone. Just walk on up. If anyone on Zoom has questions, please raise your digital hand. I'll just say thank you again, Jodie, for being here. Watching some of the social media posts of you guys lately in the halls, there's especially the members of Congress who have, I guess we'll say, are fiercely opposed and baffling do seem to support genocide. You can see that how they just fall back in that one talking point, Hamas, and you can see it, it's so visual, like it's so, that they have nowhere to stand, but there's very few talking points that we know are illegitimate. So,
well, yeah, let me speak to that because this is important to understand about the layers of lies that we stand on. So with Palestine, it happened really fast and they weren't so prepared. So I would say it's the thinnest line I've ever seen in Congress. It's why they're so squirrely. And I have 150 videos asking members about the genocide. They just won't even answer. They pretend they're deaf or I'm not there. So they will not engage because the line that they're standing on is very thin. It's very fragile. And as we know, it is only lies, right? It is a distortion of humanity. So I would say that is the thinnest line I've ever witnessed in my work. Ukraine also was pretty fast. They didn't really have a lot of time to tell the story. Again, it's like one talking point, the sovereignty of people, like not grounded in any reality at all, but they were given their talking points and they hold on to them tightly because there's not a lot else there. but I want to speak to one that they have been building concrete roads under, and that is China. The war on China has been percolating and building since 2009, since the pivot to China and since the war on China doctrine. So that's a long time. That's 15 years. There's some cement there. So building your chops right now is going to be important for China, because if we don't stop the war on China, I don't have, a lot to say about the future. So, understand that why, they're really squirrely around Palestine. They don't know. They're just trying to find, as you say, Frances, anything to hold on to, and then they hold on to it fiercely, even though it's, it doesn't mean anything. So, we should understand that Ukraine and Palestine are both levers towards the war on China. The ultimate goal is the empire must be victorious, it cannot fall, and China is in its way. And not in a way that China doesn't want to go to war on the US and China's not going to go on a war on its own self. The idea that they tell us that China's going to bomb Taiwan is only a lie Americans would believe, because Taiwan is China. The whole world knows Taiwan is China, except the people of the United States. The power of the United States knows it's China. They've said it's China, but they use that lie no different than every other lie they've used to drive a war. So, let's also remember not to be used by these lies and this propaganda, because it's all the same. It's not like the lie about Ukraine or it's all lies. And somehow it's like when people try to tell me there's truth in the New York Times. No, it's all lies. The fact that you want to hold on to it, I'm sorry. The fact that you can read me an article, know it's lies, and then come back with an article and pretend it's the truth, is just scary. That we will be used by lies. And I don't know if everybody, reads Caitlin Johnstone, but she's an important voice to follow if you want to keep sane. And I think it was yesterday, she said, you all need to be careful about how you're used. If you are for peace, we live in a time where everything is trying to use you and co-opt you. And if you're old enough to know, everything gets co-opted. So just as a community, your job in taking care of each other is not let anyone be used by lies and propaganda, not let anyone's heart be weaponized, which will take some courage on your part and some care. But it's like the care starts in your community, peace starts in your community. We can't expect it anywhere else if it doesn't exist where you are. So yeah, and I see someone's got their hand up, Fadwa.
Hi, thank you for joining us and being here. Every time I see your videos, I'm like, yes, it keeps me going. I'm a first generation Palestinian American, and it wasn't until October 7th that I started speaking out and organizing actions, because it was the first time I felt the collective safety to be able to do that. And so my question for you, based on your experience of years of organizing and mobilizing, in San Diego, we're seeing there's a lot of efforts, a lot of groups, newly formed groups, and we're all trying to figure out where our niche is and where to focus our efforts on. We from direct action protests to art installations of the shroud, like displaying shrouds and banners and talking to community members, to trying to go make public comment at our city halls and get ceasefire resolutions where we can. And then BDS, what do you think has the most impact? What should we be focusing on? And every city is different. San Diego.
No. I'm gonna answer your question.
Okay.
So let's start. As I said, war will not end till we end the war economy. So you cannot let yourself be used by any of this. You have to know that your job is to disrupt, to scratch power. Power doesn't give a fuck about life. You have to remember that. So you can't let yourself be crushed because it wants to crush you. What it is doing in Gaza is trying to crush everyone's heart, scare people, crush people. The psychopathy is trying to crush you. Can you stop it? You didn't start it. I say this all the time. Frances has heard this. You didn't start the war. You personally cannot stop the war. Empires make you think this way. What you can do is what you can do regional, locally, where you have influence. And that is important. Whatever you do, whatever you're good at, do it. Follow leadership. Take leadership, lead people into something. You are building for the future. It's like not this one action, not this one member of Congress. It is not going to stop this madness. All of it, everyone doing something. It's like I said earlier, it's not being silent, it's engaging. Is there a specific thing? Do you know what? You don't even know what you're doing is going to do. Let me use some examples. It's always a bank shot anyway. Cesar Chavez taught me that like 50 years ago. Your activism is a bank shot. The most important thing is you are doing it. Find something you do well and do it. Because on the way you are building, you are teaching, you are pulling people out of the insanity, you are giving them something healthy to be related to, because it's all sick. Our whole culture is sick. So if you as a community in San Diego, you scratch at the frickin' city hall, they're getting away with murder by like just being stupid liberal politicians that aren't doing the real work anyway. Scratch at your member of Congress, do beautiful things, make it layered. It's not one or the other. Everyone's got some leadership, pass it around, follow somebody who's doing something beautiful and take leadership and do something else. But please don't think it's one thing. It's never one thing. It's a gazillion layers. What you're doing is creating a new community in San Diego that has vibrance and resilience and tensile strength and beauty and love and peace at its core. So when you're trying to I'm going to stop what's going on in Gaza, it's not healthy. And I'm going to try to, be patient with me for a minute, because this is my local peace economy work, because long ago when I realized I can't end war because it serves the war economy, I realized we're all part of the war economy. It's a culture we live in. It's got ways that it uses us and our lives, and we have to divest ourselves from the war economy and invest ourselves in the peace economy. If you want to learn more, it's at CodePink/peace economy. But here's one of the pieces that you have to understand. Healthy is that here's a circle, like the size of my face. It is called your concerns. Now, this is your values, what you're concerned about. So you can be concerned about the planet, the world, the people in Palestine. Those are your concerns. But your level of influence is the size of my eye. And that is who you can affect. Affect is relational. It's like everything is relational. So why being San Diego? Why being a community? This is the most important thing. Because healthy is a healthy relationship between concerns and knowing your influence. Because we can get expanded ideas of our influence. We are not going to stop the war in Gaza. We don't have our fingers on it. We have our fingers on each other. We have our fingers on our families, our friends, our colleagues, what's local. That's where we make the difference. And all of that pulled together shakes the foundation that they've been trying to build of lies with truth, with love, with relationality. That is how it happens. And, as Caesar would say, it's like it was a great boycott. But was it the great boycott, or was it that they created community, that people, quit because it was these beautiful people? It was about the beauty and the heart at the core. It wasn't about the great boycott. That was a tool, right? So, and in the end, it was about the relationship that had been built over years of trust, of people who they trusted came from heart. And I can tell you in the end, it was that Caesar and Jerry Brown were Catholics and they were friends. And in the end, Jerry Brown didn't, do the right thing. It took all those farm workers sitting outside the governor's office to finally crack it. Well, you'll know what the next step is. If you follow one after the other, every step is a next step, you will know what the next step is. You know, we have, folks in DC that started with us in the halls of Congress that peeled off to do die-ins that have now what do they have? They've got a camp out outside of Blinken's office and now a camp out outside the Israel consulate, embassy. You'll know what the next step is because you're a human and you have a heart. And somebody else doesn't know. Peace relies on you to what do I do? What am I feeling? Where should I go? So stay relational. Power wants you to be divested from your heart and your own self because that's how it wins. And then it uses you. So it's not about what's right. It's about showing up and doing something with the core of your heart and the core of your community and building. What's the next thing? What do we do? What's the next thing? Well, how do we scratch deeper? How do we make them more? Don't give up. It's just don't just do one thing at the city hall, go do the next thing and the next thing. Showing up and not going away is very potent because they think they can, in the beginning, you're just a gnat. If you keep showing up, you really make them angry. And as we can see with some of the Nancy Pelosi videos, you make them get wacky and stupid and expose who they really are. So it takes layering. You got to have patience, commitment. You've got to keep showing up, and please be patient. We've got a world to take back. It got built by hundreds of years of violence. So be patient. Please be patient. We have a lot to do together. And be patient with each other.
Thank you so much, Jodie. Thank you. I wish we had so much more time together, but we're going to move to our next organizer.
Bye. Thank you for having me.
I'm going to go ahead and let you introduce yourself and say and hand over.
Thank you, Frances. Good evening, everyone. So good to see everyone in person. We see little boxes of everyone's faces, so it's good to see that you have a full body and you bring it in, and so you're really kicking it here. So thank you. Thanks for inviting me, Frances. I appreciate that. My name is Tazheen Nizam, and I have the privilege and the honor of serving as the Executive Director of CAIR. CAIR is Council on American Islamic Relations, and I work with the San Diego office. We have offices across the nation involved in advocacy and outreach and youth development and empowering the community. That's our big mission. So to enhance the understanding of Islam, promote justice, and be a voice for the community. That's mission and vision. And we do that every day. I have a team in the office. But really, it's about working with the community, working with all of you, and moving the needle forward. We heard from our previous speaker how she's been at the doorstep for years and years and years. We sometimes feel a little discouraged. Lately, I was speaking to somebody who was doing some work in the for promoting Palestinian education, basically educating the community around what was happening in Palestine. And they felt very disheartened. They stopped doing it for a few days. And I could tell you many stories of despair like that. You have heard it yourself, you have felt it yourself, and some days it's like, what the heck, why am I even doing this? Keep going to elected officials, you keep demanding, and some days you feel like, what am I doing this for? So a few years ago, my husband and I, we visited a friend who had a Palestinian reporter visiting. And he was a reporter he was an attorney, but also a reporter in Gaza. And he was here visiting, and my husband asked him this question. He said, how do you keep going? How do you find the courage or find the conviction to even keep going when you see no results, you see no resolution to this? And he said something very profound. He said, today me being able to travel out of Gaza, come to San Diego and have an event, host an event, be in public and speak about the genocide, speak about the occupation, speak about the conditions of the Palestinians in Gaza, and not be killed and not disappear from the face of this earth and be able to go back home, that is progress. Right? And sometimes we don't see that big picture. Like, think about this. A few months ago, 6 months ago, 7, 8 months ago, how many of our allies even knew anything about what Gaza was facing? And this occupation has been going on for 75 years. And even before, the Nakba happened 75 years ago. And since then, the first Intifada, then the second Intifada. And not a lot of people actually knew about this. Even Palestinian community members who are first generation, second generation, they knew some of it, but they were not emboldened to speak about it. And today, when we have a rally, thousands of people out for and come on. Recently, a week and a half ago, we had a rally at UCSD campus. There were like 2,000 plus people there, and they were able to pass a BDS resolution at the student associated students. Finally, right? San Diego State University was able to pass a BDS. And you're like, what is that doing? Our friends from BDS will later talk about what BDS means to us and how it is changing the narrative and how it is affecting people. I always say, we have two weapons. We have our votes, our tools of advocacy, and we have our mighty dollar. And BDS really shows that how our mighty dollar is powerful. Because the lobbying industry, that's what they have too. They have the mighty dollar and they're using it for evil. They're using it to blind politicians and community members against the genocide for the past 5.5 months, almost 5 months in. What is it, the 16th today? 5 months in a week. And beyond, exactly. I mean, sometimes I can't fathom like as what's her name? Jodie was saying, sorry, I'm fasting, so lack of coffee is real for me. So as she was saying that, we somehow feel like somebody asked a question about advocacy and how do you keep going? And she said she's in the halls of Congress for years after years. She's been doing this. We see the needle move. We really see it. When we talk about locally how we've seen our effect, the amount of people that are pouring out of the communities, the amount of people that the conversations are happening at dining tables, little children are talking about it. High schoolers, my daughter is like, she's like, that's all we talk about at school, Mom. So they really moved to do this. Teenagers, I don't know, I'm a parent of a teenager, brother Yusef is as well. They don't like to talk a lot. So my daughter came home a few weeks after October 7th, she came home and she said, Mom, can you get me a Palestinian flag? And I was like, what are you gonna do with it? And she's like, Mom, there is an Israeli flag at my school and I feel like a Palestinian flag is so important. So I scrambled around and messaged everybody I could and I got her a flag and she took it to school and then she kept coming back and telling me, Mom, they haven't put it up yet. They haven't put it up yet. And then eventually then it was like a week or 2 weeks later, I think she kept asking the teacher and eventually they put it up. So that is the feeling that I could have never given my child. This is the power of social media, the power of the truth, the power of our younger generation seeing it with their own eyes. Because at one point, I'm old, so I can say this, at one point, I'm going to be tired and be at a point where I'm not going to be able to continue. But today's generation is so aware. They're so involved, and they're so smart. They're smarter than I was at that age. But they can have those very intense conversations and very intricate discussions that they can continue, right? So that's me. That is not, yes. Yeah, go ahead. Sorry about that. You know, I want to talk about a little bit of what we're facing in San Diego. I keep going, and Frances is going to nudge me next and say, "Shut up." Okay, so I just quickly want to say about the advocacy portion. We've been talking about, passing a ceasefire resolution, and so many cities in California have been able to do it, but in San Diego we were not able to do it. And I know Mejgan is going to come on next, and they did a great effort in Lemon Go. Summer, one of my staff members, she was there, and they were able to push the needle. And then we talked about UCSD, SDSU. So just earlier today, Mesa College was able to pass a free speech resolution on campus. Last week, we were on City College campus. The stifling of the speech of faculty and students is just astounding these days. And to be able to pass these resolutions on college campuses is really moving the needle. It is guaranteeing that our students and our faculty can thrive in an atmosphere which is guaranteed by the Constitution, by the way, about the Constitution, if anybody wants it, I have a whole bunch of these. And then I also have a handout on Know Your Rights. And this just has simple, what are your free speech rights? What are your rights when you're pulled up by law enforcement or anything that you feel, or when you're traveling, who's heard of, all the issues that Muslims face when they're traveling, right? So I have a couple of these. I will pass it on to Frances so she can have Mejgan come on. And then I'm here if anybody has any questions.
Thank you so much. Thank you. And we're just going to pass the Mejgan, and also at 6:59 is the official breaking of fast. We also have some food next door coming as well to this week. Mejgan, floor is yours.
Thank you so much, Frances, and thank you to everybody that's here today. Assalamu alaikum, and hello, good evening. My name is Mejgan Afshan. I am the Executive Director and co-founder of Borderlands for Equity. It is a pro bono civil rights nonprofit based right here in San Diego County. I have over 20 years of experience in policy advocacy in the government. And I want to make sure to highlight what it is that Jodie mentioned. I have experience in dealing with a Code Pink 20 years ago when I was working as a staffer for Nancy Pelosi when she became Speaker of the House. And I got to meet Medea Benjamin when she used to come to our office every single day. And let me tell you something. At the end of the day, when you meet people who actually walk the walk and talk the talk and do the work, you get to see who are the real and true organizers uplifting our community. I have the utmost respect for Code Pink, and I'm so thankful for Jodie to be able to join us this evening. We have been speaking about what's going on in the community, and what Jodie mentioned is absolutely the issue. Just last week, somebody asked us, what is the end goal of what the work it is that we are doing? And it is always to push back against war, and possible war, not just with Iran, but possible war with China, and impending war in so many other parts of the world. We have ongoing genocides happening simultaneously, and Gaza is at the heart of what has mobilized our communities in the United States. As a young woman growing up in San Diego, the daughter of Afghan refugees and a Muslim American who is part of the Shia minority, who continues to be ostracized and discriminated against by the Muslim majority Sunni community, it's very important to understand that Shias have been arriving and supporting the Palestinian cause for generation after generation.
Okay. My name is Yusef Miller. I'm the Executive Director of Activist San Diego. I was born and raised Muslim in Chester, Pennsylvania, and I was asked to share a little bit about Ramadan. What is this thing that we're doing every year called Ramadan? It comes up and we fast 29 to 30 days every year. And so what is this thing? Ramadan is the name of a month, like April, May, or June, but it's on the Arabic calendar and it's the ninth month of the year. It's called Ramadan. Ramadan is a hot month, and it's a month where Muslims fast during the daylight hours. So from the first prayer in the morning, just before the sun rises, all the way till just after the sun sets, we don't eat or drink during the daylight hours, nor are we supposed to be intimate with our spouses during this period of time. And Allah tells us in the Quran, it's used to teach us patience and perseverance. You know, you need to be patient to go through the day without eating or drinking, and you need to persevere going through. The Ramadan is actually a celebration. It's a celebration. It doesn't seem like one to everybody else, right? But it is actually a daily celebration of our holy book. Our holy book was delivered to us, the first verses in the month of Ramadan. And the last verses was revealed in the month of Ramadan over a 23-year period, though. So it was not only in the month of Ramadan, it was all through the year for 22 years, but in the beginning verses in the month of Ramadan, the closing months verses in the month of Ramadan. So it encapsulizes the Quran, the message to us. So we fast in appreciation for the guidance that we've been given. So in this month, instead of eating and drinking, we prefer reading more Quran, praying more, giving more charity, burning out any emotional or psychological problems that you might have. For example, a person who's quick to anger, or someone who's quick to jealousy, or things like that. To burn those things out of you emotionally, spiritually, and also burn out physically your desires to be maybe gluttonous if you are a person that is that way, or you know, a person that fulfills their desires immediately. Someone who can sit back and not be childish in their aggressions towards other people, to sit back and think and be appreciative to others. So it is a month of reflection, a month of spirituality, a month of thankfulness to our Creator for giving us this guidance and relationship with other human beings. So this relationship and charity is not only to other Muslims, but also to other people, where we are patient with them, we're charitable to them. And this topic that we have now that we're talking about is a charity in itself. By educating people on what's going on with our brothers and sisters in Palestine who are dealing with this every single day, our charity, if we can stop it with our hands, we should do so. If we can't stop it with our hands, we should stop it with our mouth. We should do so. And if we can't stop it with our mouth, we should hate it in our heart. But the prophet told us that that is the lowest level of righteousness, of faith, if you only sit back and hate it in your heart. So we can hate it with our hands. We can write letters. I was told not to do this anymore because people don't write letters anymore. So to do like this, right? We can write letters to stop it with our hands. We can stop it with our voice for speaking out like we're doing it here today, or you can just sit back and hate it in your heart, but that is the lowest level of faith. So that is Ramadan in a nutshell. So thank you for the question.
So we have several more organizations with us. I'm going to take let's see, maybe we'll go, we've got Fadwa from Palestine Tales Online. We got Nathan from Code Pink Local. We've got BDS in the house. BDS and Steps Across Border. I think I'm going to ask Nathan, since you have a baby, we might give you preference if you want to go next and share. If this is a good time for you.
Yeah, hi, I can go if you're ready for me. Can you hear me?
Go right ahead. Yep.
Cool. Yeah, thank you for having me, and thanks to everybody who just spoke. I only caught the last few, but it's hard putting a baby to bed at this hour. But I'm really grateful for the people I've gotten to know just in the last few months through these various events. And so let me know, Frances, if there's anything you want me to cover that I don't. But I just prepared a few notes about just what I've been doing here with Code Pink in the last few months is organizing a peace vigil. You can see the background behind me is just a piece of it. But it's in Ocean Beach in Western San Diego, and it's every Saturday from 12 to 1. And so I guess I just wanted to say a little bit about that and how um, for years before that, I was doing it by myself and with my little baby, and in connection with what other people have already said, just want to echo that, you know, whatever you specifically can do, think about what you're good at, what you enjoy. Maybe it's like making hats. Like I bought a really cool hat from Palestine Youth Movement at one of their events that somebody made, homemade knitted hat, or, you know, writing, as Yusef was just saying, writing congressman is always a, I don't know if call it small or whatever, but it's important. Or showing up to physically, visibly be outside in a city like San Diego with such perfect weather. I think it's always good to be outside for whatever amount of time. And as we've seen in the last 5 or 6 months with all this just horrendous events in Gaza, I've also seen a lot of reasons for inspiration that a city like San Diego that I thought was just kind of sleeping in terms of activism has really woken up to like these numbers of, you know, the downtown events, the Hillcrest healthcare workers event and marches. And so I just want to encourage everybody to think about whatever that thing is that you personally can do. Maybe you're already doing it, but keep doing it and don't give up. And I'm just really grateful to have Veterans for Peace local folks here join me for these events in Ocean Beach lately every Saturday. And Yusef was there 1 or 2 weeks ago. Thanks for coming. And we just need to keep doing every little thing. Like I heard Jodie, I think, said, it's not one thing or the other, it's a million different things. And it's really daunting because no matter what we think we're doing, sometimes it seems like the other side that is putting their money into evil and their actions for terrible things and violence has more organization and more money. But I think globally we've seen, I hope we're seeing something stronger than what I saw in 2003, which was, you know, a huge event against the Iraq war, but then it happened anyways. So I really hope that we're seeing an uprising, awakening for so many cities across the globe to stop this horrible stuff going on in Gaza. So yeah, I've just been a member, or not a member, I've just been an admirer of Code Pink for 10 or 20 years, watching their leaders do stuff in Congress. And so I just got involved with them a few months ago. So yeah, I just want to keep that going and invite everybody to come to our event in Ocean Beach, of course. But also, you know, that's just one thing for 1 hour. And if we can get people like in Lemon Grove or just anywhere, pockets all across the spread out, you know, San Diego on a map is such a weird constellation of little places, to get more like Friday vigils or Saturday vigils or demonstrations where it's like, I think there's a lot to be said for doing something regularly, you know, often, like once a week or once a month if you can't do it once a week, so that it's not just a one-off event. So like the Women's March, a couple women's march, but one of them was for Roe v. Wade. That was so inspiring to me that had so many people attend that in 2022. Maybe some of you guys were there, but it's at the same time, it's like, sometimes I think about those one-off marches when something horrible happens and that we need to not stop, you know, we need to keep pushing that. So I guess I just wanted to speak mostly about taking care of yourself, you know, voting every day that you can, obviously with different votes, but also with your wallet, with your actions, with your energy, boycotting, divestment and sanctions, the BDS. I've been a war tax resistor for a long time, so I could speak about that if anybody has questions. But I think it's like a very, very strange like thing that everybody agrees that the only thing sure in life is like death and taxes, you know, it's like a saying, but we all have the choice to pay taxes to the IRS. And I've successfully so far, I don't want to jinx it, but rerouted that money to causes that for life, and like Doctors Without Borders instead of paying the IRS. So just anything you can do to simplify and simplify your life, and petitions, food choices, you know, driving versus not driving, and just to stand up for people and help our brothers and sisters around here in San Diego, support them. That's basically my overall speech. And if anybody has any questions or things, like again with Frances, I wasn't sure if you wanted me to focus on something in particular, so I could go on, but I'll just end it there and say thanks and any questions.
We're gonna, and actually with the folks who are here, we're gonna go through and give every other organization remaining a little time to speak, and then we'll open it up for questions at the end for folks who are still able to stick around. But let's
For
move.
sure.
And actually, sorry, Dave, you mentioned Veterans for Peace. Since you guys are going, working directly together, I'll hand it to Denise next from Veterans.
Yeah, I'm very honored to be part of Veterans for Peace. I'm an associate member, not a veteran, but I've been working with them for a long time. And Code Pink. So that it's just been a real joy. And I saw Ann Wright this morning on a talk she gave to the UN, and retired colonel, Army colonel, and she's been protesting all over the world for all these issues that we have and anti-war. And she was there when I got arrested at Creech, and she said, I am just shocked that you're this age and this is your first arrest. Yeah, so it's just been really amazing to meet people that are so committed. And yeah, we're really happy to be associating with Activists San Diego and Peace Resource Center, and put our energies together on all these issues that are just really horrifying at the moment. And definitely for the ceasefire. And Veterans for Peace has been writing letters to our congressman and high and low, and putting in their feelings about what's happening. It's just beyond belief. So grateful for all these activists. Frances is so amazing, and Martin and Yusef and Michael from the Peace Resource Center, and working together and building community and feeling the power of that. Pretty exciting.
All right. You guys can. You want to go next? Okay. Cool. And actually, why don't you just sit in front of that camera and take this mic?
There might be some feedback if you take the microphone.
Okay.
I don't know. It's, or
Should I
if you're
try
gonna
it?
be right there. Okay, yeah, that's fine.
Is that working? Okay?
Yeah, that's fine.
All right, awesome. I'm gonna stay out of the camera because I don't like being on camera.
Oh, okay.
But my name is Shay. I'm with BDS. And I'm here just to talk a little bit about our organization. So BDS is a movement that's modeled on the anti-apartheid movement that was successful in South Africa. To keep it short and sweet, we believe in doing specific targets and to boycott specific targets that would have the most impact on the Israeli economy and have the most impact on ending apartheid in Israel, and to force them to follow international law. If you're interested in learning more, feel free to follow us at San Diego BDS. And I also run a small book club called Books for Palestine ASD. If you're interested in reading a book about Palestine, then feel free to follow us on Instagram and come and chat.
Oh, that's okay.
Let me go right here. Okay.
Yeah, yeah.
Over here. Okay. My name is Asma. Is that sexy?
That's
Oh.
fine. No, no.
I'm just weird on mic and all of that. So I'm new to San Diego, and I moved here in September. I am Palestinian Muslim American. And
So I am working through the dilemma of how to be a business owner in the middle of a genocide. And, because I moved to California to launch my company after 11 years of development. And I was faced with a choice, do I turn my back on my people and continue doing skincare? That's what I do, holistic skincare. Or do I get involved? So, push came to shove and I leaned on my heart. And what I did is I channeled my anger and fears and, trauma that's been passed down pretty much from my grandparents and my parents. Like my dad's brother was assassinated on this years ago in the 80s. So that's his big brother. And for a long time, I ignored my dad and what he was saying. And now I want to hear everything, so I'm a perfect example of what Jodie was talking about earlier. There's a lot of Palestinian Americans who grew up here. I moved here when I was 9. So, and I just wanted to be a part of the American culture, what is the American dream? I'm still chasing that. And to me, that's the people. And BDS is so important. I just come from a different perspective. So to me, as a business person, your net worth is your network, right? And I truly that we believe that we're coming to a point where we could really use that, right? There's a lot of little groups in San Diego. There's some big groups in San Diego, but overall, what I've learned so far since I've been here, is that everybody wants to get involved, which is awesome. There's a lot of people that don't even know how to get involved, and those are the ones that I am curious to help out. The ones that are on the sidelines, that are not Palestinian, that how do I what do I got to be able to put in this? I don't have a say in it. I've been in privilege my whole life. So what I want to do, being involved in this community, is I want to just wake up people, because what if you're that one small piece? What if you showing up to this meeting is the one small piece that's going to get this wave going? So it takes every action. There's not one thing that's better than the next. I think that mindset needs to go. It's a mindset of division, the one-upping each other, things like that. So I just, the power is with the people, and when the people are united, we chant it all the time, but like somebody else said, you can talk the talk, but walking the walk is different. So taking your ego and putting that aside, and why are you here? Why are you doing this? Why am I in San Diego now after all these years? So that's what I'm leaning towards. Who can I impact today, right now? Because I was talking to somebody earlier in a meeting. I was like, it doesn't make sense to me to own land at all, because when we die, we don't take the land with us. We belong to the land. We die and we get buried. So to me, borders and visas and owning land and colonizing just does not make sense. It's not the human way. So I want to help people just go back to the human ways. Okay, so blend it with business and organizing. I want to mobilize people to find their strength and then apply it in the community. So for somebody like me who's coming from a lot of grief and heartbreak and just all these emotions, the past couple of years in business have really pushed me to my limits, in different industries. And all I've learned is how to take my emotion and channel it into action. So what Steps Across Borders does is educational, immersive events. I want to humanize Palestinians. We're people just like everybody else, and it's not about just the Palestinian fight. To me, it's about everybody, locally and globally. So locally, San Diegans are You know, I come here and then like there's all these floods that happen. So like they're not prepared for it here and the city's been negligent. And you know, I'm just finding out all these things about San Diego, and it's one of the prettiest cities in this country, right? Um, so with all that said is, you know, the Palestinian movement here needs to be also for San Diego just as much as we want San Diego involved. Like we want them to divest, we're calling for a ceasefire, but at the same time, the power is in our hands. So instead of spending money at Walmart, let's find out who makes sweaters and spend the money with them. Instead, so like there's such an easy way to boycott and divest just by living mindfully. So for a long time, I preached like it's more important than ever to pay attention to what you put on your body, in your body, and into the waters. Well, looking at that today, it's more important than ever to pay attention to what you consume in your mind, to what you're putting out. So it's all of it connected. I feel like if we start slowing down and intentionally getting involved, not just go out in the streets and scream, but have a strategy. Who are we targeting? What's our message? What are we trying to say? What's our goal? You know, all these questions need to be asked before every action. And I really want the organizations to think that way, more strategic, because that's how you mobilize, right? We're so frustrated. I see, you know, last month um, I've met a lot of people since I've been here, right? But everybody I've met has been through this movement. I haven't really met like the San Diego locals that don't know anything, you know, that are just living their day-to-day lives. And that's how we grow bigger movement, is by doing the work and, you know, just slowly stepping away from McDonald's and cooking at home. No coffee, let's do tea. Let's not buy these groceries, let's grow them. Let's find the local markets and the farmers and things like that. So it's with one step actions, multiple actions a day, that it adds up. It's with one-on-one conversations, more than 1,000 people in front of me doing a speech. I like going to Lowe's and talking to the cashiers and the guys at the post office, and you know, I'm wearing this all the time. I'm just talking to them like I'm Palestinian. I do skincare. This is what I do. You know, so it's about building the bridge of understanding, and sometimes screaming for anger is not the way. So I just want to provoke a thought process of mindfulness and of intentional action, if that makes sense. So back to Steps Across Borders. You can find me on Instagram. Our next event is April 28th. It is a mural that's going to be about collective liberation. So what does freedom look like for all of us? Queer, Black, yellow, Palestinian, everybody. What does that look like for all of us? And we're gonna have like a chalk contest and tie-dye shirts and things like that. So it's more of a hands-on immersive project. So it's gonna be at Vision Culture Foundation in National City. I have the address on the flyer on the social. I think it's 2440 something. I can. And you know, the first event, I got judged a lot. I go through this so much, but it's so much fun to change people's thought process, right? So it's more like a turn on for me in a way. I wanted to do a dance for freedom, and everybody was like, "You're dancing while people are dying. It's not the Muslim way." Blah blah blah. I'm like, how do you know? Like our prophet, if you really studied our ways, the Palestinian Muslim way, you would know that he used compassion and education. He loved on people. He didn't yell at the idol worshippers and told them you're wrong, you're wrong. You know, he didn't do that. He brought them in and kind of fostered this understanding mindset. And every action works. No single action is wrong or right, whether it's painting, standing outside of Congress, somebody's house or whatever. I really wish people would just, you know, everybody wants to get involved, and I see the passion, I see the drive. I just want them to slow down, be intentional, and have a strategy, because that's how you truly execute a solution. So that's it.
Okay.
Hey,
Okay.
Francis.
Fadwa.
I have to head out soon. Could I share a little bit about Palestine Pal?
Yes. Yeah, you didn't see my chat. I said you're up next. Yes.
Oh, I did not. Okay, great.
Floor is yours.
Cool. Hi, everyone. I support the efforts Palestine Pals is doing. I'm one of the just one of the people in the group. It's really open to everybody. There's no like really lead organizer. We try to keep it we really want it to be open to everyone. And so I should introduce myself. I go by Fadwa. I am a SD native, first generation Palestinian American. And I landed upon Palestine Pals in early December or mid-December. And I connected with Lily. She's the head organizer of Palestine Pals. I'm stepping in her place tonight because she was not able to make it. And I approached her and shared an idea about demonstrating, putting together like hundreds of shrouds sized of children and putting them on a lawn in front of a government building in San Diego, and kind of just as a memorial for the community to come out and heal. And we've been able to replicate that a few times. And then from there, I met Asma with Steps Across Borders. And then from there, I met another person, Alia, and we did the billboard campaign. Hey, I saw you waving. So I just wanted to share the mission of Palestine Pals. It's to nurture resilience and well-being in communities impacted by historical injustices. And the mission is to create a supportive and inclusive environment for individuals to address intergenerational challenges, embracing diverse cultures and promoting holistic well-being. And doing this, we strive to empower individuals and communities to overcome the lasting effects of past injustices, fostering collective healing and strength. And so we have three main committees. We focus on civic advocacy and political actions. And then we have like direct actions for other not related to civic advocacy or politics. And then we have IT. So in the past 4 or 5 months under politics, civic advocacy, we've organized public comment at City Hall. We've attended candidate forums. We did a ballot party webinar. And then direct action, we have organized rallies. Definitely all of this has been in collaboration with all the groups in San Diego. We've done some banner drops, and then we fundraise money to send to organizations on the ground in Gaza. And then for IT, we have a website and we have a community calendar that we are trying to keep up to date with all of the events happening around San Diego. So you can find the community calendar on the Palestine Pals website. It's palestinepals.com. And we also on the website, we have a long-term project in collaboration and to complement what BDS is doing. We want to put together kind of like a shop guide so people know what they can buy and where they can actually spend their money, and what companies are supporting Palestine, or at least not supporting the government of Israel. So I want to share some actions coming up. This Thursday, a group of people from all different organizations, we are hoping to protest outside of KPBS because we are really disappointed with our local media coverage of the actions in San Diego. we've done so much and we're not seeing this being covered on our local news media. And when it is covered, it's extremely skewed and biased, and it's not really telling the truth. And then also Thursday, there's a Pom Poms for Palestine event. Thank you, Frances. And so protests outside of KPBS, that's kind of like a behind the scenes thing. So if you want to know more, please reach out. You can reach out to me or let Frances know, and she can share my email with you. And then the Pom Poms for Palestine, it's just like kind of like a healing and therapeutic event to create yarn pom poms and create a large Palestine flag out of it and bring people together. And then Saturday, we have a very big action. It's a binational border march. It's going to be, there's going to be groups on the ground in TJ and in San Isidro. And we have, I think there's like 10 plus organizations that have come together to do that. And then in a few weeks, from inspiration from what Code Pink SD is doing. So that the Shroud Memorial installation vigil, I've been wanting to do that on a weekly basis. So in Balboa Park, every single week we have it displayed. And if you go to the Palestine Pals Instagram account, there's a recent post of what we did this past weekend in Balboa Park to give you an idea of what that action looks like. Just kind of like what you were saying, Nathan, like little pockets, like doing something everywhere consistently. And then in a few weeks, we're going to do a music and art show fundraiser to raise funds for people on the ground in Gaza and the West Bank. Because there's people really struggling right now and they need help. So that's kind of the one of our direct actions that focuses on like fundraiser, bringing people together and raising funds. I don't know if you can hear my baby, she's upset. So that's just a little bit of what Palestine Pals does. It's open to everyone. It's been really beautiful. There's people from all walks of life that come together. And it's really whatever you can contribute. And however much time you can contribute. So if you'd like to learn more, please check us out on Instagram, Palestine Pals, and then online at PalestinePals.com. And I will stick around until 8 if there's any questions for us, but I'm just going to be on mute and off video. Thank you.
Okay, all right. So thank you, Fadwa. Thank you all. Thank you. Did I miss any organizations that are here? Did I miss anyone else on Zoom who's here with an organization that wanted to speak? I will state that unfortunately, Jewish Voice for Peace was unable to join us tonight in the end, but wanted to will share their website, jewishvoiceforpeace.org. And I want to, I guess, state, if it's not obvious, the reason for this meeting is because, as you all know, Activist San Diego's mission is to be that connective tissue and that an organizing hub here in San Diego. And I feel privileged to be connected to all these incredible organizations and organizers over the last many months as organizing has happened has elevated around Gaza. It's been incredible to see so many people do so much, show up day after day. Shay, who's stepped away over there, she said she didn't say a lot, but she's someone who has been doing so much. Shay, I'm giving you a personal shout out because you spoke very little, but you've been someone who's been doing so much behind the scenes, and everyone as individuals. It's really awesome to be building with you all. And I've had the position. Asma, first I met Asma when she reached out to the ASD Instagram saying, hey, I'm thinking about doing this. Do you have any help? And so we are We strive to give as much help and support to organizers and make connections amongst people as we can. Can use that little plug for Activist San Diego and why everyone should, consider becoming a member of ASD as well as every other org you're part of, because it adds that extra level of connectivity. So we hope we consider you all family regardless. I'm going to open it for questions. And we have about 13 minutes to the official 8 o'clock end of the hour. We made up some good time from a slow start, but a little bit of a late start. But we have some time for questions. We still have Nathan from Code Pink San Diego and Fadwa from Palestine for about 10 more minutes. If anyone has questions specifically for them, I'll start with a question to Tazheen. I wondered, you guys have been doing a lot of civil rights cases, and I wanted to see if you could share a little bit more detail around that work.
Hi, thanks to Frances for that question. So since October 7th, our office and across the nation, other offices as well have seen an enormous spike in cases. In San Diego alone, we have seen about a 400% spike. Our office history is kind of long, so this has been a big trajectory for us. And a lot of these, like more than 50% of these, are from students. Some are from employment cases. On October 12th, the Islamic Center of San Diego there was a hate incident where posters were posted, movements were tied on the fence, and it was the illusion of fear, instilling fear in the community that we're watching, so to speak. And of course, a report was made, but unfortunately, the police department did not want to pursue it as a hate incident. And so nothing was done, although they have identified the perpetrators. Later, a couple of weeks later, before the end of the year, they had another incident where a car pulled up and said some obscene profanities while the Islamic Center school, which is right next to the Islamic Center, was let out. So there were two incidences right there, and still no arrest, nothing. Across the county, we've seen many instances of where students were intimidated into removing any paraphernalia that they had on either their computers or their water bottles, stickers which said Free Palestine, or even a watermelon, and they were asked. And these students were brought into the principal's office or the superintendent's office in some cases without a parent present, without a counselor present, and they were intimidated into removing these. They were also cases where students were intimidated on removing their Instagram post because of the content, which was just, they were just reposting some of the posts that we've been seeing across the direct footage of the carnage that we see on the ground staff. So a lot of these, and then employers have been, especially private employers, have been very strict on anything that people have posted. So people are being called into HR and said, we're not firing you, but we just want you to know that we're watching your account, your social media accounts. So these are their personal accounts. On school campuses, that's happening obviously, but also in businesses. In the government sector, we haven't really seen because they are afraid. So it's good to have some HR policies in place which can ensure the rights of these. But definitely a lot of civil rights violations, a lot of intimidation is going on, and blatant disregard for our constitutional rights, basically. So, obviously, we all, like Mejgan mentioned, the Borderlands for Equity is definitely doing this work on the ground. Our office is doing it. ABC, the American Discrimination Committee, they are doing the legal work. But a lot of this is about advocacy. If I could pull out a lawyer and try to intimidate somebody with a stifling letter, that could do the job. But I feel like us rallying around the cause, us showing up, like you all have been for support of the affected community member, that sends a larger message that we're here and we're not going to be silent and we're not going to let this. So I don't know if any one of you, she asked me about Imam Daha's case. Imam Daha serves as a commissioner of the Human Relations Commission, and he has done so for many years. Private Fletcher appointed him many years ago. After the shooting at the Poway Synagogue, the Human Relations Commission, the Leon Williams Human Relations Commission was established, and Imam Daha was appointed by Supervisor Fletcher. And this last month, he was reinstated, like his term was up for renewal. And Supervisor Montgomery Stepp, who has taken the position of Supervisor Fletcher, now reappointed him. And on that meeting, we were actually not even aware that it was going to be a county supervisors meeting, but at the meeting, many people showed up and they played clips of part of his sermon that he had given on Friday in his mosque, where he served as the religious director. So it's taken out of context to show that he is somebody who supports Hamas and he is anti-Israel and pro-Hamas. All these messages were sent, and they played clips of it during the supervisors meeting. Anyways, the three supervisors did go ahead and vote him in, but the next day, Supervisor Tara Lawson-Greenberg, who also was pressured by people and may have misunderstood the message, issued a statement that's how disturbing Shaftaha's message was. Anyways, advocated around Shaftaha's reinstatement, and he was reinstated. But then the supervisors decided that because of the issues happening, or under pressure, or on their own volition, I'm just going to give them the benefit of the doubt, they decided to put the Human Relations Commission on hold right now. And we advocated saying that, a lot of community members advocated saying that if it was going to be on hold, let's use this time for purpose. All of the commissioners there, whether they were pro-Israel or pro-Palestine or pro-anything else, they all need to be educated to have an equitable mindset, to have equal lens, not just to serve their communities, but the communities across the board that are constituents of St. Abel County. So the Human Relations Commission at the moment is on a hold. We'll see.
90 days.
Any other questions? Anyone on Zoom have a question? Make a note that,
When was that decision made? So like when did the 90 days start?
It's right at the end of February. So probably
Okay.
March 1st.
Okay.
March, April, May, June. Before the supervisors go on a recess, hopefully by then they've made a decision. But I'm, okay, you decided, that's fine. Utilize this time. Don't sit idle and try to mitigate just that, the noise will die out in the background and people will forget. As designers say, what is it? The old will forget, and no, the old will die and the young will forget. So let's not give them that opportunity. We are not forgetting, and if I forget, there's a slew of people behind me who are not going to forget. And when I die, there's the next generation who will come on and pick up the same baton. So that's not happening. Never again will we let this issue die.
and I want to say, I am Protect the San Diego is a nonpartisan C3 organization, but I want to speak though do really encourage everyone to vote and pay attention. That civic engagement is definitely still part of the fight for social justice, because while it can be frustrating, incredibly frustrating to watch election after election and see the folks who are bought off and that they keep winning because they have more resources. But that is why, again, we need to continue to work on how organized and know that, especially right now, as the world is paying attention to this issue, we have the opportunity to make it a campaign issue. And there has been a lot of significant burn up, follow someone, usually a candidate or an elected official, on the campaign trail, and you make sure you get to ask questions during the Q&A time or afterwards, but you record them on camera and question, and often news can be made that way, and that kind of pressure can really help shift narrative and that kind of reflection. Not seeing anyone here with questions, but we've taken a lot of content. I'm going to make a note, just read out loud, and that Maria, who's in the Zoom, mentioned that she's from Tijuana and lives in San Isidro, some quarters very near, and she will go and invite friends to join the World Without Walls. Fadwa, I see your hand. Go ahead.
Hey, I was thinking for Tazheen and everybody in the room, it would be great if we can put something on the calendar ahead of time so we all have it planned, like go in 2 months to county, make public comment, and hold them accountable. Like, we want an update on the status of this. Where are you at? Yeah.
Oh, okay. And I do want to also just, just plant the seeds as we wind down, obviously no freeways have been shut down in San Diego yet. There are a lot of tactics of escalation. We haven't done any press conferences in front of city council or any elected officials. Well, specifically about the resolution. And then, but there's a lot of escalation tactics that we both considering, and also that's where the working together comes into play, and we collaborating with each other. I do think that right now it's great to be part of a movement where groups are really working with Center Palestinian leadership, and while different organizations have slightly different sensibilities, and there have been moments of like hiccups of like potential discord, I think right now we've luckily been able to overcome some of those little things, and but note that I've been thinking about, this is a great moment for organizing people to get involved, much like the wars in Iraq. But what happened was coalitions grew very big, and then there was discord, and then they fell apart, and then the movements have fractured since. So I think that we got to really keep in mind how we build and be both intentional and cautious with each other, and we're communicative, committed, even organizing stuff and accidental, didn't thought someone was with an organization had a right to speak for them, invited, but then had it, and so they didn't maybe understand that they didn't have it. So just knowing and hold ourselves accountable to, and obviously being human and making mistakes. So and then.
I just wanted to say that the media has been extremely quiet with us. They don't go to any of our demonstrations. They don't cover us unless it's against them. So.
All right, so we're gonna close it 7:59. For anyone who supports this likes this kind of discussion of these events that San Diego puts on, ask again that you visit our website at sandiego.org and become a member, make a donation, give whatever you're able to. We are supported by individuals. I gotta say, we did just we're celebrating that we just got a really big grant as well.
Yeah.
I want to give a huge shout out to the Ben and Jerry's Foundation. And we're going to plan an ice cream party to really celebrate this. But I do want to state that at San Diego, we're all incredibly excited that the Ben and Jerry's Foundation has seen the kind of work we're doing, and they understand that it's blurry and it's all over, and it's very
and they have
hard to understand, but they their work, they saw us, and they were fully supportive, and so they gave us a 2-year commitment for it. So,
and they have been in support of our pro-Palestine efforts as well, too. And I know that they have been a bit of a target for BDS, but
right,
yeah.
they did not. They closed their factories in Israel.
Oh, okay, all right.
They did that actually, not even before October 7th.
Okay, that's good. I didn't know that. I knew they had
You want more? Okay, come
Yeah.
on the microphone. And then, open up if anyone else has announcements.
I just want to say that today is a birthday that's very important to activist San Diego. Our compañero Alex, it's his birthday.
Hey.
And I want to wish him a merry birthday, merry birthday.
So we're gonna say goodbye to our folks
There's Jake.
this. We say goodbye to folks on the room, our radio call. Maria, thank you for joining us to the left. We're gonna say goodbye, and we're gonna sing happy birthday to Alex. All right, take care now.
Hey.